that's the biggest issue essentially with these AI wellness apps. It's the missing human element, because emotional eating is not about food. It's not about data. It's not about numbers. It's about emotions. It's about stress. It's about habits. It's about our mental health. It's about our nervous system. It's deeply personal, and everyone's experience is unique. Everyone's experience is different. And AI can't understand that. It can't be empathetic. It can't listen. It can't be nuanced. It can't respond in a way that's personal. It's pre-programmed. You fit into a bucket, like I said. Right? Like when I was using these apps, I would you'd follow the prompts and all that stuff, and you'd get messages back like, great job, or, try again tomorrow. That kind of was like, I feel like that doesn't really like give me what I want. Right? It's like that feel. It's like I just keep going back to that feeling where it's like, you know, you're investing yourself in a relationship that is just not meeting your needs. And like over time, that's extremely draining. It's extremely disappointing, right? Because we need compassion, we need empathy, and the truth is, we don't need it. Like, if you get a good dose of empathy and compassion, like a couple times a month, right, and connection to yourself, you're guided in that way, you're not going to need these everyday rules. That's the thing. You don't need these like consistent, like, things every day keeping you quote unquote on track. When you get like, a dose a couple of times a month of like true compassion, true guidance that's nuanced for you, helps you in your unique way, right? I mean, that's what we really need. And these apps, like I said, their value prop is data, right? They ask you questions that, that signify, or that assume that they're going to be able to answer you with empathy and compassion, but they can't. So they give you back like random robotic answers and calorie counts and rigid rules. As I've mentioned before in other episodes, rigid rules are going to make emotional eaters rebel like 100% of the time. And if you're an emotional eater, you know this. You have done this already, right? You have already tried this, and it has already not worked for you, right? You rebel into binging, guilt, shame, all of that stuff again. And when you tell the app, right, all the app says is, get back on track, right? You'll get back on track. That's what happened to me. You'll get back on track, right? Because when I was doing this, I think it was like the beginning of these apps. And also I've heard about it from my clients, right? Like my clients and students in my mentorship will come to me with examples of how these apps spoke to them. Right? So why is the human connection so crucial to healing? Why can an app replace what a real person can offer? And for one, I've said it before, overcoming emotional eating, it's a relationship. It's a relationship issue that you're having with food. So the only way that it could be healed is within another relationship, and that is usually with a human. And usually the reason why we have a an unhealthy relationship with food is because we used it to help us soothe and distract from unhealthy relationships with humans. So the only way that we can, fix that, heal that, is to have a new healthy relationship with a human. Usually, I do it within my mentorship or my coaching, where you have healthy, compassionate, empathetic, warm, feeling seen conversations with other women in the mentorship program, with me when I do my coaching calls, the meditations, all that stuff. And then in my one-on-one coaching, the same, but like you're reprogramming your relationship the way that your body and cells receive and understand relationship through healing through with another person as your coach, as your community. And that in itself translates into your relationship with food because you're retraining yourself. You're retraining your cells to trust people differently, which essentially trust yourself differently, right? All of these relational skills translate into our relationship with food. All these relational experiences, new relational experiences, translate into our relationship with food, right? And I remember when I finally started just getting out of my isolation and opening myself up to getting support from coaches, from communities, from, like I've mentioned many times, there were a lot of different communities because there was no one program, the one that is similar to what I do now, to kind of bring it all together. I had many different communities and like modalities that I had to basically connect to. But when I finally did that, it helped me understand myself. And it felt like a weight was lifted and my nervous system relaxed through that feeling of connectivity with other people. And instead of feeling like I was alone or in isolation doing this, or instead of getting some sort of like weird robotic encouragement, which started to feel more like that relationship that doesn't meet your needs, that's just kind of there and now becomes a nuisance. Instead of that, I had felt seen for the first time. I could actually explore why I was eating, not just what I was eating. And that was completely life-changing for me. Right? Like, why was I eating? Right? Let me swim in those waters. Right? An AI wellness app is never going to be able to sit with you in your pain, your struggles, or offer you real compassionate understanding that you need in order to reprogram the way that your nervous system, your cells, your brain, your heart, and your body respond to food and eating. Right? It won't be able to notice patterns, won't be able to pick up on, body signals, cues. It won't be able to, you know, track how your non-food context of your life is impacting your eating. Right? Healing emotional eating is about so much more than just tracking macros, tracking calories, following a meal plan. It's about trusting and building trust. And that is a training that requires real human connection. Okay, so if you are listening to this and you're feeling frustrated with these apps, so say that you're using them now, you have used them in the past, and you kind of are like thinking about maybe going back because you want support, just know that you're not alone. You're not doing anything wrong. Technology can be a helpful tool, but it should just never replace the human connection that's really vital for true healing. And so, instead of relying on solely on an app or solely on a plan, look for support that offers genuine empathy, genuine understanding, the ability to adapt, to you and with you, that provides, those nuanced emotional skills, emotional trainings, right? Healing is not a one size fits all solution, right? It requires much more than data and information, right? It requires a whole shift in the way that we feel about ourselves, about other people. It's about integrating. It's about integrating our emotional life with our eating life.